Good morning, Emerald and Green class. It's time for your maths, and we've got arithmetic here. So you should have your 3 sections written down in your book and get ready to do your arithmetic. And I'll put the answers up in a second if you pause the video. Okay, ready for the answers? And here they come. So you've got a mix of times tables there. There was a pattern to the silver. Hopefully you're starting to spot those number patterns and sequences and seeing what happens to the answers. And then you've got your higher numbers, your multiplication facts using your place value to work out higher multiplication numbers. Okay, so if you're on your starter, we've got a very strange gift going on here with some weirdness going on with that cup. I rather liked it. Obviously the capacity of the cup is slightly, well, it's really hard to say, isn't it? It's a bit bizarre, that one. So we're comparing volume to 1 litre of liquid today. Okay, so we're going to have lots of measuring beakers, and we're going to do some calculations with our maths today. So the first thing we do on our starter is we're going to have a look at this carton, and we're wanting to know what the carton's capacity is. And this carton is full up. It's been tipped into these 2 beakers, and you've got to read the quantity on there and put the number of millilitres down. Okay, so have a little think of that. You can put that into your book or onto your starter if you've got your sheet in class. Okay, so we've got 500 in the first beaker, and we've got 10, 20, 30 in the second. Combine them together and you've got 530 millilitres. And this is a cool one for you. So we've got 1 bottle holds 3 cups of water. 1 bottle here is 3 cups. So the capacity of 2 bottles, how many would that be? So what's the capacity of 2 bottles of water? How many cups would that be all together? So here you should have 6 cups of water, because that one has 3, plus that one would be equal to another 3, and altogether that's 6. Right, so we're going to have a little talk about this now. It looks a bit confusing. It's not really. These are 100 millilitre beakers, and you're going to, you should know by now, how many millilitres make 1 litre. So you've got a litre beaker here with those marked intervals here, and then you've got some sums here. Have a good look at this, because it is giving you lots of information. And the question that comes out of this I really want you to talk about is this one here. Are there other ways to make 1,000 millilitres or 1 litre? And are there any other beakers that might help us? Okay, what could you do to make, what would you do to make different ways to this one, with if you had a different selection of beakers, or you just had to do it? Okay, so have a think about that one. Talk it aloud or talk it to somebody else, and you can pause the video. And so there are different ways, and we're going to have a look at this now. As there are 1,000 millilitres, there are many different ways and many different beakers that you could have. So many combinations. It's incredible. So we're going to have a look at this. So, but you could basically group 1,000 into 2 lots of 500 millilitres. In exactly the same way, if you had 10 millilitres, you could group that into 2 lots of 5 millilitres. So again, you know, those multiplication questions to start with, they're really useful for, working out these higher numbers. Okay, because 2 times 5 is 10, then 2 times 500 is 1,000, 2 times 50 is 100. There's lots of facts that you're starting to use now. So let's have a look at these 500 millilitres. There's 2 lots of them, And if we do a bar model for that, it would look like this. They would be equal bars because they're the same value. Then we'd make a bigger bar for the total, and it would match the same size as the two 500s. 500 add 500 is 1000. And then we can put our number back into the bar model where the missing space is. And then we can see that this equals 500 here, and another 500 would equal 1 litre. Okay, so you get to 500, add on 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, and you get to your litre, or your 1000 millilitres. Okay, so this is the sort of question that we might get today. How much more water is needed to make 1 litre? Okay, we've got a little bit of here that's popped through on the PowerPoint before it should have done. Sorry about that. So we'll have a little look. We've got 500 millilitres here. So we can't just read the difference here because obviously we want it to make a litre. This is where we're comparing, okay? So we're comparing this to 1 litre. Okay, so we want to make, how much more water do we need to make 1 litre? So we've got, let's count it up first of all. We've got 100, 200, 300. So this in the middle would be, we know that this is 2 intervals here to get to 100, so that's 100 divided into 2 is 50, so we know that this is 350. So we've got 350, and then to get from here to a 1000, at the moment we don't know that number, okay? And we know that the total that we've got to reach, the target that we've got to reach is 1000. So there's 2 ways you can think of this. You can think of it as 1000 take away this 350, and that would leave you with that space. Or you could think 350 add something, 350 add something is 1000, and that's where these missing number questions that we often get you to do in the arithmetic are really handy, okay? They're really useful. And what you can do today is we're going to use some mental methods today. We're not doing a whole load of expanded subtraction for this expanded method, because actually it will take you so long to do. It's a lot quicker to use your mental maths, okay? Especially when you're going up or you're coming down from 1000, because you're going to have to exchange lots of numbers here, and the chances are you're not going to get it right, okay? So with some numbers it's a lot easier just to use your mental maths. You can partition this 1000 is fine, but you can partition this part into hundreds and tens. So then you can take away 300 to start with, so we've got 1000, take away 300, that would be 700, take away 50 would be 650. And in the same way you could count on from 350 and add the difference between 350 and 1000. So you could do it that way. Obviously you can't use this as a scale because it finishes at 500, but you certainly could, if that went up to 1000 millilitres, you could use that almost like a jumping up number line. Okay, so getting those mental ways of doing it is going to be really helpful today. Okay, so our answer is 650, and it can help you to partition into hundreds, tens and ones to work out those adding or subtractions today. Put the answer in your bar model. You could got a working out column, you can use that too. So another 650 millilitres of water is needed today. Okay, and if we add this back up again to check, 300 plus 600 is 900, and 50 add 50 is 100, 900 plus 100 is 1000. So we can use the inverse there to help us. Okay, so here we go, next one. This is your guided practice now. This one is to find the total volume. It also gives you a little reminder here using your ruler for your bar models today. So we're going to have a look at this. This one is, well, let's have a look. 100, 200, 300, 400. This interval here is worth 50, so that's 450. And we want to find the total, so we're going to add this on. And we've got 200 here. So we've got 2 bars. And what do they total? Well, they total 650. So 450 add 200 is 650. We can put that into our bar model, and then we can finish our calculation and our question to say the total volume is 650 millilitres. Okay, we can't just leave it like this because we know that doesn't answer the question. Could say 650 bananas. How much water remains after 225 millilitres is used? Somebody comes along and drinks it by the looks of that. Okay, so we've got 450 millilitres, so that's going to be the total, and then it's going to drop down because 225 is going to be used. So that's going to be, is that going to be an adding or a takeaway? What do you think? It's going to be a takeaway, okay? So we're finding we're going to be left with a smaller number. We're not going to be left with more than 450 because that would be impossible. Okay, so we've got a standard subtraction bar model. 650 take away 225. And you can split that down, partition that into 200, take away 20, take away 5. And our answer would be 450, take away 200 is 250. Take away 20 is 230. Take away 5 is 225, which is the same number. So it's actually halving that amount. It looks wrong, doesn't it? It sort of doesn't look right, but it is. It's absolutely right. I had to check it a couple of times, that one. So 225 millilitres of water remains. Yep, because we need to make sure we're answering that question. So today, to be able to compare volume to 1 litre, you're going to be perhaps taking away, you're going to perhaps be adding and finding the difference, okay? And to become ultra successful today, you're going to draw a neat working out column to start with, read that question, okay? Find the units of measure that you need to be answering in. It's either millilitres or litres. Draw your bar model. If you're doing it on the sheet, you can do the bar models underneath or into your book, okay? But we'd like to see you do some bar models because it's really good practice for you. Use your working out column to partition and work out, and anything that you want to do in your jottings in there, make sure you're ruling off or making it as neat as you can because it's good practice, because it needs to be clear. And finally, include that unit of measure with your answer. So here are your questions, okay, and you'll have your sheet, or you can use the sheets on the school website, and there's the other, okay. So they're very similar to the ones that we've been doing, okay. You have to decide whether to add or subtract, so that's why the bar models are in place, because they really can help you to make it simple and make you see the values, okay. So hopefully that goes well today, and you get on really well with your maths, okay. That's it from Mrs. Ludd for the moment. Take care now, bye.